Okay, so in today's quick video, we're going to be looking at masking in Photoshop, and there are a number of ways you can mask in Photoshop. Today we'll be looking at how you can select an object and then mask the object by removing the background so that you reveal the layer underneath, and it creates a composite image. As you can see, if I come across now to my layers palette here, I've got two layers in this document. The top layer here, the Teapot layer, if I turn that off, you can see the layer underneath, which is the bench top. So what we want to do, I'll turn the Teapot back on and select that layer. What we want to do is all this white area around the outside of the Teapot and also in here, in the handle, we want to make sure that those areas are transparent so that we can see the kitchen bench top below. So how do we do this? The quickest way to actually select this area around the background here is to grab one of our selection tools over here on the toolbar. Now the quickest way of doing this is using the magic wand tool. Now if I grab the magic wand tool and then come across here to the control panel, you can see at the top here in the control panel I've got a number of different options. Now the options in this first part of the control panel relate to how I select. The first option will allow me to create a new selection by clicking anywhere on the document. The second option, which is the one that I'm going to use, is the Add to selection. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to click on multiple areas and create multiple selections. All right, and then I've got the tolerance over here. This tolerance window determines how sensitive the magic wand is. The magic wand selects pixels based on their color. So if I have the tolerance down at say 1, like it is at the moment, it will pick up most of the white pixels around here if I click on them. However, it may miss some that are a little closer to the edge of this Teapot. So what I'm going to do is increase the tolerance. So I'm going to bring the tolerance up to 10 to make it more sensitive. And we'll see how we go with selecting the outside of the Teapot in the background with the tolerance of 10 with the magic wand. So to use a magic wand, I just click once on here. And as you can see, my marching ants come up to denote that I've made a selection. Now these other areas in here inside of the Teapot, I want to make sure that this is also transparent, so I'm going to click once inside that area there, and as you can see I've got marching ants now running around the inside, and also this little area here. If I click in here, now I've got marching ants running around all of those parts of the background. So now that I've got the background selected, every part of the background selected, the next step is to actually inverse this selection, because it's actually the Teapot that I want to keep, not the background. So in order to inverse the selection, what I do is I come back up to my select drop-down menu here, and then if I scroll down to the inverse option, and not too much has happened, what has removed is the marching ants running around the outside of the document. And now it's actually selected the Teapot rather than the background. So the next step is to go into my Refine Edge tool to help clean up that edge a little more. So I come over here, click on the Refine Edge tool, and as you can see, it's giving me a bit of a preview of how this may end up looking once I've applied the mask to it. I can actually change that preview from this view menu here. If I click on that drop down and go to on black, it shows me what the Teapot would look like if I put it against a black background, or I can view it against a white background, or I can just see the selection in black or white mode. For this particular example, it's probably a good idea to see how it looks as an overlay or even as on layer, to give me an overview of how this edge is appearing against the layer below. So to clean up the edge, if I zoom in a little bit closer, you can see that it's a little bit pixelated around the edge there, and I can try smoothing that up slightly by using the edge detection tool within the Refine Edge window. If I click on the Smart Radius button and then drag that up slightly, it only needs to come up a few pixels, probably just 1 pixel would be enough. As you can see, it has helped to smooth that edge a little and created a slightly transparent edge, which allows it to look more like it's part of the scene that's behind it. Underneath we've got the adjust edge settings. I don't really need to work with these once I've used my edge detection, because it's done a really good job at selecting this. Depending on the sort of image that you've selected, you may need to use edge detection. If edge detection doesn't work on the particular image that you're working on, you can come down here and manually adjust things like the smoothness and the feathering of your selection. So the last step when I'm in this refined edge window is to come down here and decide how I'm going to output this refined edge. If I was to click OK now, it would just go back to the marching ants as a normal selection. What I'm actually going to do, if I click on this drop down here, I can choose to output to layer mask. And what you'll see in the layer panel is a mask will appear next to my layer thumbnail, and I will have transparency so that you can see the layer below. So I'm going to click OK now on layer mask. Excellent. So now, as you can see here in the layer panel, I've got a mask or a layer mask sitting to the right of my thumbnail. And if I zoom out, what you'll notice is I've now got a transparent background, and the teapot is now sitting on the bench top. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight in the way that you can remove backgrounds from objects and create masks. The steps are: 1, to select your object by using one of your selection tools; 2, to go in and refine that selection once you've made it; and then 3, create a mask from that selection to create the transparency. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I will see you in the next video.